Who do you hang out with?
My friends, I guess.
My friends.
My friends.
Popular kids.
Mostly I hang out with people from like the leadership class or people who like get involved with leadership.
Mostly I guess you can call them like the drama geeks.
Who do you eat lunch with?
My friends.
Myself.
Usually I eat lunch in Mr. Peter's room.
Again, my friends, the drama geeks, and
Friends again. Friends.
Who do you go to when you're upset?
anyone who's willing to listen.
Usually my parents.
Well, my mom, actually.
My sister and my puppy.
My grandparents.
What would you do if you weren't included?
I'd probably hate being alone, but I'd be alone, and
I probably wouldn't come to school, actually.
What would you do if you were isolated by a label?
What do you mean?
well, I'd probably be pretty depressed.
I wouldn't feel very good at all.
What would you do if you weren't included? How would you feel if you were isolated by a label? High school can be a challenging and confusing experience for any teenager, but some of us face more hurdles than others. Our students with physical and developmental disabilities face added struggles, and while we notice them, we often do not think to include them. Maybe we just don't know how.
How long have you been involved in the Special Olympics, and what exactly do you do?
1987. So whatever that math is. Was that 26 years? And I've been a coach, and I'm a certified coach in all of the activities that Special Olympics offers their athletes.
I'm Zachary Curtis.
I'm Diana Curtis.
Here.
I'm Mark Curtis.
I'm Spencer Curtis. My Max. What's up?
Who is your daughter, and what disability does she have?
My daughter is Danielle Haig. She's 20 years old. She is currently in the transition program at Puyallup High School, getting ready to transition out of the public school system and into the workplace.
As far as coaching Special Olympics, I expect as much out of them relative to their ability as I do to any of my other teams that I've ever coached relative to their abilities. And I do not remediate my approach to coaching.
He doesn't really have friends. He's not real sociable.
Okay.
So he doesn't, go up to somebody and say, hi, I'm Zachary, stuff like that. So he pretty much stays to himself.
There, I don't see any ability or non-ability or disability or different abilities.
I'm always neat and clean and always pick up my stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Spencer's messy.
Hey, I clean up some things.
Her disabilities are, it's hard to describe them because early on, her doctors just thought she had vertigo, childhood vertigo that she would grow out of. And she was first diagnosed at age 5. After we identified that she had had problems at 2.5, it took them about 3 years to identify any of her disabilities. Finally, we forced our doctor to send us to a neurologist. And when we were sitting with our neurologist after she had had all of her tests, he was sitting at his desk, and me and my wife were sitting across from him, and he started looking through this big stack of papers, and he started flipping through them. And as he was flipping through them, he was just shaking his head. And about every other page, he would dog ear. And he went through those for what seemed like an eternity. And finally, he stops, puts both hands on the top of the papers and says, your daughter is having a 3-second seizure every 20 seconds, which meant about 9 seconds out of every minute of her life was spent having seizures that you couldn't see.
Spencer, what's something you would tell people so they understand something about you better? What would you say to people so they understand you?
What? That you're friendly?
Yeah.
Yeah, that does describe you.
I want my daughter to have as much inclusion as possible and integration with the normal population of students, not because she's going to pick up the content. That's not what it's for. It's for the socialization that she needs. Because once she transitions out of high school, her experiences are going to be with quote unquote normal people. She's going to have to hold down a job. Her coworkers, her bosses, all of those things, they're not necessarily going to be people with disabilities.
You know, once you get to know him, you know, he has a good sense of humor. Just don't, like, he doesn't like to be touched. So he does air fives. You know, so yeah. Give me a high five. He does an air five. And he can be very creative and funny once you get to know him. Same with Spencer. Spencer can be very friendly.
Hi, Miss
You just have to be careful. I know, like, with the kids in the neighborhood, they like to get a reaction out of him. And if they would just know, don't push his buttons, because he will react.
There was a gal who ran their theater program in the Special Pops program. And she would do Pinocchio, or she would do Beauty and the Beast, or she would do Seven Dwarfs, whatever script she would get from New York City. Now, immediately you all think Pinocchio and the Puppet and Geppetto and the whole bit, or Seven Dwarfs or Snow White, as you have seen it on TV or in the movies. What this gal did is she brought all of the participants in the Special Pops program at Kent Parks and then adapted the play based on the abilities that the kids brought to the tryouts or to the audition. And it was the most phenomenal thing I've ever watched. She never told the kids that they couldn't. She changed her thinking to make inclusion and to make success possible. And it was like, wow, talk about getting out of the box, and trying to fit these particular abilities into this expectation. She took the ability and changed the expectation.
Every person deserves to be included. Kids with disabilities often don't have someone to hang out with, don't have someone to eat lunch with, and don't have someone to laugh with or tell their secrets to. All it takes is one person to look beyond the differences. Be that person.